This is the Rod Langway Fan Club.
Welcome, everybody, to the Rod Langway Fan Club podcast. I am your host, Jeff Roman. It's our special NHL Summer Summary. As always, I'm joined by a couple of co-hosts, Mr. Mark Czeknita.
Yes, the final month of summer is upon us, which means hockey is just around the corner. I'm stoked.
And John Snowden.
Yes, it was a hot summer roaring around the world. I've been chafing a little bit, actually, but I got some talc, and that really sorted things out, so I'm ready to go.
It sure is great to see you guys again and be back in the studio. Mark, how was your summer?
Well, I did my usual tour of Western Canada. Great times, great people. Pretty crazy weather, though. Lots of extreme flooding in Edmonton, which was a little unexpected, but delightful time nonetheless.
What about you, John?
Well, Mark goes west and I go east. I was out in the Maritimes for several weeks, and we had lovely weather, lovely countryside living, barbecues, fresh salmon. I had a great time.
Yeah, you were in New Brunswick, and you also made a trip to Halifax?
That's right, New Brunswick and Nova Scotia. Lovely part of the country. Very friendly people. How about you, Mr. Jeff Rolleman? I saw you posted some lovely pictures of your trip back home on Twitter.
Yes, I was back in Stratford. It was awesome to see all my family and friends. Also took a trip to Toronto. We did have some of the forest fires. Looked like the apocalypse out there.
Yeah.
But I just love visiting Canada in the summer.
Okay, gentlemen, that's enough chit-chat. Let's get down to some hockey talk.
Yes, since we last spoke to you guys out there, the Carolina Hurricanes won the Stanley Cup.
Yes, they finally got over that hump. Rod the Bod and the boys hoisted the Silver Cup. That was a beautiful moment for Jordan Staal, winning the MVP. Conn Smythe, just a very dominant performance. Once they found out the team's weaknesses, they really capitalized and took over those series.
They sure did. Very worthy champions. They don't really have a true superstar, but they showed that hockey is a team game.
Yeah, and I wonder, it's always a copycat league. Will other teams try to build this kind of, you would call it a weak link team where they don't really have one, and you just try to have depth up and down the lineup. That could be something that other teams try to build.
And what would you guys say was the biggest surprise of the playoffs?
Well, for me, it was the Montreal Canadiens going to the conference finals.
Quelle surprise.
Yeah, I did not see that one coming. Obviously, 2 Game 7s that they won that maybe they didn't deserve to. And I mean, that's the other part of the surprise is Jakub Dobeš came out of nowhere and was a stud.
And what about you, John?
I mean, I guess I would have to say Connor McDavid and the Edmonton Oilers getting bounced in the first round by the Anaheim Ducks. I know Anaheim is an up-and-coming team, but we all picked Edmonton to win. And yeah, big shocker. I know McDavid was a little banged up, but nevertheless, big surprise for people.
And the Dallas Stars, that was another surprise one when they got knocked out in the first round.
That's the thing with the Central Division. There are so many strong teams that somebody's going to be disappointed with a first-round exit.
How about you, Mr. Jeff? Do you have a big surprise from the playoffs?
Yeah, I guess I would just say that some of those teams that had missed the playoffs for so many years, especially Buffalo, but also the Philadelphia Flyers, both of them managed to win the first round. So I think that's great for their fan bases.
Yeah, those are 2 teams that I think have better days ahead, too.
Yeah, all in all, a very exciting playoff. And shortly after that, of course, we had the NHL entry draft. Big draft this year, of course. What were some of the highlights from this?
Well, everybody knows out there, I am a Toronto Maple Leaf fan, and the Leafs won the draft lottery. I couldn't believe it. And number 1 overall, they select Gavin McKenna.
Yeah, I guess the big question is, will he be a generational talent? Will he be a superstar, or is he just going to be a very good player?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. He's going to be playing next year. Of course, they lost Marner. Is he going to be the Marner replacement? Time will tell.
That will be so interesting to find out. Just don't say anything about his mom.
Yeah, definitely an exciting draft for the Leafs, but I think the Sharks won the draft. I mean, you get Ivar Stenberg at number 2. He's going to be an absolute stud. Another talented forward added to that crew. And then their defense core, that was the one thing they have to build out. They got Keaton Verhoff at number 9, who, I mean, at the start of the year, he was regarded as a surefire top 5 pick. And then they move up to get Ryan Lynn, who's a sneaky good defensive prospect as well. So I love what the Sharks did.
Yeah. And at number 3, the Vancouver Canucks drafted Caleb Malholtra. Now, Manny Malholtra, many will remember, was a pretty stalwart NHLer there for a while, and now he's the head coach of the Vancouver Canucks. So interesting move there. He seems to be, a decent-sized centerman. And maybe a big game guy. He performed very well for the Brantford Bulldogs in this last OHL playoff. So, I mean, this could be a good player and potentially a guy that could maybe step up where some of their other players, looking at you, Pettersson, have not been able to.
Yeah, building down the middle is always a good way to start. I just wonder, though, the relationship between father and son, kid breaking into the league with high expectations and not the easiest market in Vancouver. Could that get a little bit awkward?
It might, but it worked in Winnipeg. Adam Lowry and Dave Lowry, they seem to mesh quite well together. So you never know. They could play off each other quite well.
One of the things that I was most curious going into this draft is where these defensemen would get chosen. There's so many great D. And in the end, Daxon Rudolph went 4th overall to the Buffalo Sabres. Then we've got Albert Smits, the Latvian. He went to the Rangers. Carson Carrolls went 6th overall to the Calgary Flames. And then Chase Reed, who a lot of people were really high on, he goes 7th to the Seattle Kraken.
Yeah, he dropped. That was interesting, yeah.
Yeah, so many awesome defensemen. It's going to be really fun in a few years to revisit that conversation and see which teams got it right.
For sure. I think people were just kind of throwing darts there, being, well, which one should we take? So interesting. After that, though, Viggo Bjork was taken by the Winnipeg Jets.
Yes, John. Now that's your team. What do you think of that pick?
I liked it, I got to say. He seems to be a very smart player. It seems like he can probably play center or wing. He's a little undersized, so maybe at the beginning it'll be a bit of a struggle for him to play at center. But I think he's going to turn into a real player, which is something we have struggled to get in some of the most recent drafts.
Do you think he could play on the team this year?
I would be a little surprised. Yeah,
I've read a few things saying that he might as well. But yeah, for a guy who's undersized to break into the NHL at that age, I just don't see it happening.
I hope they wait. But, I've been saying that the Jets should maybe take a less is more approach with their roster construction, maybe make a few trades, maybe do a bit of a rebuild. So I may be in the minority there. We'll see what happens.
Okay, well, let's move it along now to...
Wait. Sorry, guys.
Okay, what?
Sorry, I got one more thing. One
the
more
goalies,
thing, please.
Right?
It's goalies.
Yeah.
Every year.
I know. Every year I love to talk about the goalies. We saw the most goalies taken in the draft in 20 years.
Whoa.
And only 4 were Canadian. It makes me very sad as a former goaltender myself. It's such a shame.
They might have to call you into service. We're so low on goalies.
There you go.
They might need to.
We'll probably be rolling out Jordan Binnington in another 16 years.
You guys know that Canada needs goaltenders. We've got the talent out there, but we need to develop them.
Draft schmaft. Let's get to the off-season moves. There were so many of them.
Yes, we were looking at this offseason thinking it's going to be a bit of a snoozer. The free agent class was a little slim, but man, then the trades started coming in, and wow, it was impressive. Fun, a lot of fun. Where should we start here?
Well, what do you guys think is the biggest one? Is it Tkachuk?
Yeah, it's got to be.
Yeah, I would say Brady Tkachuk. He leaves the Ottawa Senators and joins his brother Matthew in Florida for the Panthers.
Yeah, a lot of pushback from Canadian hockey fans about this one. People were angry. Especially seeing Brady said he didn't want to get traded. He wanted to stay in Ottawa. But in the end, he ends up going to the States, goes to Florida.
Yeah, I already hated that team, but man, they're even more hateable now. Just a
sure.
bunch of villains on that team. They're going to be scary good.
I think it's probably better for Ottawa if he really didn't want to be there. But what a move for Florida. Did Ottawa get enough back?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you get the 9th pick overall, but then they flip that for Eklund. I like Eklund, but I mean, that's a big downgrade on the wing. So I think they did what they could, but it wasn't ideal.
Yeah, Eklund, he does have some potential.
He does. He's still young. He's younger than Tkachuk. But yeah, you got to think it's a slight downgrade.
It is, but that's not all they got. They got another late first rounder in this year's draft, and they got a top 10 protected pick in 2029. You got to figure by then Florida will have probably fallen a little bit. That could end up being a fairly high pick. So, I mean, these are nice assets. It's not what Ottawa wanted, but I think they did the best they could in the circumstances.
Yeah, and I mean, Brady, for as important as he was to that team, he underperformed in the playoffs massively. I'm not sure if it was motivation or whatever it was.
He could have been hurt.
He could have been hurt too. But, I think that's something something you got to look at as well.
It just makes you wonder, like, is this the beginning of an exodus of talented players from Ottawa, or is this going to be a one-off and they're going to keep on building something there?
And Brady Tkachuk wasn't the only former USA Olympian who was disgruntled.
Yeah.
How about Zach Werenski? He's fresh off of a Norris Trophy winner. They had the awards while we were in our offseason. And Werenski apparently nixed a trade. Maybe he wanted out of Columbus?
Yeah, I'm actually really surprised that he said no to that deal. I mean, what more do you want? You're going to Dallas, which is a cup contender in a low-tax state. That one was really surprising. And I mean, it was a good return. To get Harley back with Bourque, I think would have been a good deal. That would have been a great hockey trade for both sides, actually. It's kind of weird that he had a change of heart at the last second.
Yeah, and, there's been rumblings about Connor Hellebuyck in Winnipeg as well.
When they signed Skinner, I thought, Hellebuck's gone for sure, but he's still there, so I'm not sure what's going to happen. Will he end the year in Winnipeg, you think?
I have no idea what's going to happen. I mean, if the Jets are going to trade him, they're going to need a huge package back. And they're not going to trade him for peanuts. I've heard that there have been some offers, and they haven't, been enough. So I do hope the Jets don't trade him unless the offer is right.
And speaking of Dallas, I know he wasn't on the Olympic team, but the whole Jason Robertson saga.
Yeah, it's been like this for a few years, rumblings about them not really wanting to go forward with him long term and give him the money that he's earned. I mean, the guy has scored like 40-plus goals a couple of times now. He's dynamic forward, but just feels like Dallas doesn't see him as a fit as like their top end best forward.
He ends up signing just the 1 year deal.
Yeah, they kick the can down the road, but I don't know. I could see him being dealt at some point this season. That wouldn't shock me.
No, for sure.
Yeah, and they're feeling the crunch. I mean, they had to get rid of Bourque in the offseason as well, which is a shame for Dallas.
Yeah, I mean, this is a team that has really struggled with playoff success. So that'll be interesting. Another disgruntled player, Dylan Larkin.
Wow.
Yeah, so
out.
he's demanded a trade, and
Yeah.
he gave his little list of like 3 or 4 teams, and I mean, it really put the Red Wings in a tough spot, and this is kind of quieted down now, but it's not resolved.
Well, it did result in the end of the Yzerplan.
Yeah.
Steve Yzerman is out in Detroit. What do you guys think?
I mean, it was time. It was time.
Yeah, we've been talking about him for a while. Like, if you go back to our previous episodes, we've talked about him in almost every episode and how the Yzerplan has not been working out. So I think it was a long time coming. Obviously, hard franchise icon like him to send him packing, but they had to change the direction, I think.
Yeah, I think this was a nail in the coffin for them, was the Larkin fiasco. And, the inability for them to make a move, and Detroit just missed out on the playoffs last year. I think all of those things compounded. Yzerman's done.
Do you think the firing of Stevie Y means that there's a chance that Larkin could stay?
I know that Yzerman is known as being a really fierce negotiator, and that there have been a few times now where they've had big star players go down to the deadline right before the season starts to get a long-term deal. So maybe Larkin was not thrilled with how that went, and the team not winning. I know that there was a press conference at the end of the season, he was complaining that they didn't add anybody to the team for the playoff push, so possibly.
Yeah, I mean, Larkin, he's the captain. You'd hate to see him go. I'm not sure they'd get a fair return back.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I have some questions about Dylan Larkin. I do love him, but in terms of top-line centers on some of the top NHL teams, where does he rank? I would say kind of low on that list. I think he's a really good centerman, but I wouldn't put him in the elite category.
Yeah, I'd say somewhere between the 20th to 30th best center in the league. I mean, if you're going to have a guy like him as your number 1, you better have a really strong number 2, and they don't. So
yeah.
So perhaps he could be suited as a better number 2.
If you get him as a number 2 on a team that needs, like, if you send him to, let's say, I don't know, Minnesota, right? Him and Eriksson Ek would be a nice 1-2 punch. That would be a perfect fit there.
Speaking of good fits, was it a good fit for the Edmonton Oilers to hire Mike Babcock?
It's kind of a perfect fit if you think about it. Now, let me give you the list of the last 5 Edmonton Oilers head coaches. So let's see if we can find a pattern here. Ken Hitchcock, Dave Tippett, Jay Woodcroft, Chris Knobloch, and now Mike Babcock. A little bit curious, isn't it?
Yeah, they might have something in common with Rod.
Yeah, Rod could be the next coach, maybe.
Yeah.
Who knows? But all joking aside, I was shocked by this. And to me, I don't know, it feels like a bit of a desperation move to bring in Mike Babcock, who I thought would never get another NHL coaching opportunity.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, it went so badly in Columbus. He didn't
even coach a game for them. It went so badly.
Game. Yeah, that press conference was a disaster. I listened to McDavid's interview on TSN after he was hired. I did not like what I was hearing. A lot of McDavid talking about how excited he was. He said the word excited so many times, like he was trying to force excitement. I don't like it.
Jeff, what do you think?
I'm not sure either. It's been a long time since Mike Babcock had success behind the bench there.
Yes,
I know he did well for Team Canada, but it's
you
been
could
a
have
long
coached
time
that team
in the NHL level.
Yeah, I think that this is a pretty big departure from the previous few coaches that were kind of guys with limited experience, guys that I think were maybe deferring to the stars. McDavid pretty much just calling his own number and saying, I'm going out there regardless of how many shifts I've played. I think Mike Babcock's the kind of guy be like, Connor, take a seat here. We're going to need you later in the game. And it'll be interesting to see how those two big personalities coexist in Edmonton.
Yeah, I am interested to see that as well. I just wonder, Mike Babcock hasn't had a lot of success in the NHL. He hasn't had a lot of NHL experience recently at all. The last time he won a playoff series was a very, very long time ago, I believe, with the Detroit Red Wings. And that was a dynamite team. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of questions as to how good a coach he can be in today's NHL.
And slightly adjacent, the Oilers have some new goaltenders. Usually coaches live and die with their goaltenders. Do you think Edmonton did enough between the pipes in the summer?
I mean, there are some fresh bodies in there. I do like taking a gamble on Devin Levi, young goalies. They take a while to hit their stride. And he's going to get a chance to play because he's playing behind Freddie Anderson, who they brought in, who gets hurt every single year.
Yeah, John, what do you think about bringing in Freddie Anderson? I know he won the Cup this year.
He
wasn't in the final, but he got them there.
Yeah, he sort of won the Cup. His name is on there, and he won a bunch of series for them. I think he's a good goaltender, but like Mark was saying, is he going to be healthy? I don't know.
He won't. And Tristan Jarry also gets hurt pretty much every year, and also not the most reliable guy. So it's a three-headed goaltending monster. I'm not sure if it's a better situation than before, but maybe slightly better depth.
Yeah, it'll be fascinating to watch in Edmonton this year.
Okay, boys, I hope we're not forgetting about the blockbuster offer sheet that came in on Leo Carlsson. This was one of the biggest stories in the offseason. Unbelievable $18 million offer sheet.
Yeah, the Philadelphia Flyers, they really went for it. Daniel Briere saw something he liked.
Yeah, they put Anaheim in a really tough spot. Do you guys think the Ducks made the right call matching?
I think they kind of had to.
Yeah, I agree. I think they had to as well. It was a very tough call. 18 mil is a lot to swallow, especially for a team that was thinking, okay, we're going to have some cap space. We can still have a lot of room to grow going forward. Putting out the Edmonton Oilers in the first round of the playoffs was a huge step forward for this team. Now, I think it's going to be a little more difficult for them to really grow into the contender that they want to be.
Well, yeah. And what happens with Cutter Gauthier?
Yeah, Cutter Gauthier, there are rumblings out there that he's already turned down $13 million a year. So did they get him signed for, maybe 14, 15 mil? That's a lot of money. And then Beckett Seneca, who had a dynamite rookie season last year, he's going to be up for a new contract sooner than later as well. So this could really mess up their internal cap structure.
Now, they did sign Mintyukov, but they had to let go of Zellweger.
That was a little bit of a puzzling one for me, actually, letting him go. Nice pickup by Buffalo, by the way. And that kind of fills the gap left by Bowen Byram.
Oh, well, That's the other one, boys. We've got to talk about this one.
Yeah, huge deal here. The Chicago Blackhawks acquire Bowen Byram. Just a massive contract.
Highest defenseman in the league now.
Well, let's talk about the acquisition price first. They gave up the 4th overall pick. When was the last time a top 5 pick was moved? That was nuts.
Yeah.
And I like Bowen Byram. Don't get me wrong. He's a solid player. And I think given the chance to be a number 1, he could put up some nice numbers in Chicago. But that's a king's ransom to pay for a guy who's, had a good start to his NHL career, but also has some injury concerns as well in his history.
Yeah, they tried it with Seth Jones. It didn't really work out for him in Chicago, so hopefully it works out better for Byram.
Yeah, he's younger. I think he's got a very solid pedigree. But I do wonder about his upside. What is this guy's ceiling? His highest point total is 42 points.
Well, but the points, let's not get too bogged down with how many points he's got because he's been behind Cale Makar and then Rasmus Dahlin. These are two of the best defensemen in the world.
For sure.
So he's never had PP1 minutes. So,
Exactly. He's never had PP1 minutes. He's never even had them. So, you're hiring him to be your number one defenseman. He's
I
never
think
even
he has the
tried it.
skill set to be a PP1 defenseman. I'm not saying the guy's going to be worth $12.5 million or the acquisition cost.
Sure.
But I think that pointed at his 42-point ceiling is not really the best way to come at the argument.
Well, I don't think that's his ceiling. I think he has a higher ceiling. I think that's fair.
Like,
But
if
we
he
just
scored
don't know where it
65
is.
points this year, I would not be shocked because he's going to get, number one deployment.
Yeah, we'll see, though. I mean, when was the last time a Chicago defenseman had 65 points?
Yeah, fair enough. And
Yeah.
Bedard is not going to be healthy to start the year either.
He
so.
also signed a big contract. What do you guys think of Bedard's deal?
Well, after the Carlsson offer sheet of 18 being matched, you had to figure he was going to get at least 15. I think that's about right. Of course, I'd be a little bit nervous if I was the Hawks with the shoulder injuries, but what are you
sure.
going to do? I mean, he's your stud franchise guy.
Yeah, those injuries, though, are worrying. I didn't like the video I saw of him going down there. That could be a big concern. I just really hope we don't have another Josh Norris on our hands here with that shoulder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a lot of support for Chicago. Now, the Blackhawks did bring in Patrick Kane. He's back.
That's a nice story coming
love
back
it, yeah.
home to finish
Yeah,
his
that's
career.
kind of cool. But I wanted to ask you, if Byram's getting this kind of money, I mean, where does Makar and Hughes come in?
Yeah.
I think they can just ask for whatever they want. I mean, I think Makar is a $20 million player in this salary landscape that we've established here.
Yeah, I mean, it makes me wonder, is Minnie going to shell out for Hughes?
Does he even want to
does he
stay
even
there?
wanna stay?
That's
Yeah.
the big question. Does he
Yeah,
even
yeah.
want to stay?
We'll see. Yeah, it's a
That's
big
probably a question for next summer, I guess.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
I think we've pretty much done a nice job wrapping up this past summer, unless you guys have anything else you want to talk about.
No, I think that's about it. I'm really looking forward to getting going with the NHL season. The regular season is going to begin early this year, right?
Yeah, it actually kicks off on September 29th, an earlier start to the year. We've, of course, got the 84-game season this year, shortened preseason. So we will be back in less than 1 month's time with your NHL season preview, so stay tuned for that.
I cannot wait. Well, listen, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. We'll talk to you again soon, and I hope you had yourselves a time.
Well, I hope you had yourselves a time. Hope you had yourselves a time. Hope you had time. Hope you had yourselves